the and ash.
So, Mr. Sunderland, can you tell us whether it is possible to improve and perhaps increase food security and nutrition without clearing forests?
The Holy Grail. That's a very good question. Traditionally, as we've seen in today's seminar, the pervasive paradigm of increasing agricultural production has been at the expense of natural systems. But in recent years, we've become much more cognizant of the fact that forests and trees also play a role in provision of agricultural support in terms of ecosystem services, but also in terms of direct contributions in terms of foodstuffs. A lot of the research that we've been doing at C4 with many of our partners has shown that there are strong correlations between dietary diversity and proximity to trees and forests. And I think that's a very powerful message. So instead of actually disaggregating forestry and agriculture, we actually want to start looking at the integration of forestry and agriculture. What roles can forests and trees play towards the achievement of food security, but particularly dietary diversity? And we need to also separate and understand what we mean by food security. Are we talking about more crops? Are we talking about increased calories? And I think that's not the case so much. We're now having a much nuanced and better understanding of the role of different types of production systems for dietary diversity, so with a greater emphasis on nutrition. And that's basically where our research has highlighted a huge relationship. And we've been working in 23 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. We worked in Indonesia, which is obviously a huge archipelago with many, many different social, agrarian, physical, environmental systems. We also undertook a very broad macro analysis of a further 28 different countries in the tropics. And the relationships that we're finding are exactly the same in each of those systems. The closer you get to forests and trees, diets are better. And this is also independent of poverty. So even poorer people with access to natural systems, wild foods, you send your kids down to the stream to collect, watercress, which has high nutritional value. All of those things play an incredibly important role in contributing to household diets and increase dietary diversity and nutritional values. So we're trying to get away from the either-or of forestry and agriculture, making sure there's a much more integrated, what we call a systems approach to food security. The other important aspect is the provision of ecosystem services. We have strong evidence to suggest that pollination services are incredibly important, particularly for commodities such as oil palm. We're finding the same relationships with wheat in Ethiopia. The further away you get from forest systems and forest patches, yields tend to drop off, and that's probably due to climate regulation. And so there's a whole plethora and paradigm shift again towards understanding how trees and forests support agricultural production, and that's incredibly important.